Hello, and welcome to the Performer's Guide, Pricing Yourself Like a Pro. My name is Kristen Railing, and today we will be discussing your financial freedom number. Your financial freedom number is the number that you want to achieve in order to attain financial stress-free life. And I think that oftentimes we as budding entrepreneurs, as performers, as people with small businesses, we're struggling to make ends meet. And oftentimes we're pricing ourselves so low that we're not going to be operating in the black. We often will find ourselves operating in the red much quicker. And we're paying bills monthly that are accumulating over time, right? And it's really a ball and chain for a lot of people. They're not really able to get out of the fight or flight mode of just paying their monthly bills. They can't really foresee past financial stability into financial vitality, into financial independence, to true financial freedom. And so this module is really designed to break down those steps and break down each one of those steps into really exact expenses and exact incomes that we want to be tracking so that we make sure that we're able to pay our bills, that we're able to do the monthly things and expenses and vacations and extras that we want to do, that we're able to save, we're able to buy a house and a car, and are able to have all the things that we need to operate a functional business and have a functional life. And so we're going to dive into our financial freedom number in this module, which includes financial security, financial vitality, financial independence, and financial freedom. So the first step is financial security. And this is really the most important one that we definitely want to make sure that we're hitting. And it's what makes ends meet. We're able to pay our rent or our house mortgage, our utilities. We're able to eat food, get to where we need to go, and have basic insurance costs. And so the first step to financial security is really listing out each one of these things. How much are you currently paying in all of these? And are you satisfied with where you're at in your financial security currently? Or is one of your goals to increase your living situation now? And if so, then we'll want to know what the difference in those costs are, right? And so if you want your financial security to do a little jump, we want to know what those differences are between your current rent living situation and your ideal living situation, your current car versus your ideal car, okay? So the next we have financial vitality, which is your financial security, making sure that you can pay all of your rent and your utilities, plus the monthly expenses that really set you off energetically, right, and help you to live your best life so that you're dressed well, you're able to eat out, you're able to go to entertainment if you'd like, you can have small indulgences, you can have small luxury items, and you're also able to pay for things like your gym membership or massages, hair, nails, physical therapy appointments. All of these things go into your vitality section because you could cut them out if you had to, but if you had them, your life would be more fulfilling. And so we want to, again, list all of these out. What is your ideal monthly or quarterly or yearly expenses that you really want to start to incorporate into your life? And then we can break that down, how much that would be monthly. And we're going to start to play with these numbers. So next we have our financial independence. And so this is when you're financially independent. You own your own home, you own your own vehicle, perhaps you own recreational vehicles, and you're able to go on large scale vacations whenever you want. You're financially independent. And here you would also typically have a larger savings of up to a year of savings. And I would say in the financial vitality, you would have about 3 months worth of savings. And in financial security, you would have at least 1 month ahead savings. So we're not just living month to month. So we want to list out how much is the ideal home that you want to purchase or the vehicle, and what is the down payment that you need to acquire, and then what are the monthly terms. And we're going to want to have an idea of both of those, because when we start to do the math, if you do that part incorrectly, you may get a larger rate than is necessary. And so you want to make sure that you realize that the down payment is a different calculation than your monthly payment, which often has longer terms. And recreational vehicles and vacations are usually single purchases, and so we don't have to worry about that there. And then we have financial freedom. And financial freedom is where we want to get to, and oftentimes feels ethereal and just really out of reach for people. A lot of my clients and people that I talk to in general, they just can't even imagine having to not have to work. And so you attain financial freedom through aggressive savings, through wise investments, through owning your own home. And so you're putting all of your money back into your own assets, and then earning passive income enough that which pays your own rent or mortgage and your utilities. And so if you can get passive income paying your financial security numbers, and you have a year's worth of savings, and then you're still working, you're free. You're financial free, because you could take a year off if you wanted and still have a full working system. You could continue working and then build an aggressive savings. You could just stop working and just have everything come from your passive income. And so you have all these options at this point. If you can really dedicate some time to creating passive income, savings, and investments, then you really can achieve financial freedom. And so that's what we're going to work on in these modules down below, that we're just going to break all this down and really see where we're at versus what our numbers are. Okay. So with all of this, we're going to try to set our life on fire. It's an acronym, and it stands for financial independence, retire early. And this is the savings aspect of it. And we are taught to save around 10 to 15%. That's what we should at least be saving. And so we want to then look at our financial numbers. You've got your financial security, financial vitality, and your financial independence numbers. And you would multiply those numbers by 10%. And that would be the amount of savings that you would want to accumulate for that step. And so if you, like the average person, work and save 10%, it could take you 9 years to save 1 year of living expenses. It's kind of a long time, right? if you jump to 25% though, it goes down to 3 years, and that becomes feels like achievable, right? It doesn't feel like this really far off, ethereal possibility. It's like, okay, I can try to aggressively save 25% right off the gross income for 3 years and put that into a different account and not touch it. If you jump to 50%, then it only takes a year to save up a year's savings. Okay. And again, this is a year of your financial security number. So you just want to take that, multiply that by 12, and then that's the number you want to try to have in your savings account at all times. And if you were able to, because you already have passive income, because you already own your own home, you already have all these systems in place where you don't actually have to spend a lot of your own income, and you're able to save 75%, you could achieve financial freedom in less than a year. And you can not feel like you have to struggle for work, and you can own a home, you can work when you want, take a break when you want, and really get out of like that fight or flight mode and just focus on the projects that you're trying to create. And so that's what we really want to start getting into. So we're also going to start playing with our savings numbers. So now we've thought big, right? We've created our financial freedom numbers. We've thought about how much we want to save, and we're starting to formulate a way to create a financial plan. But now it's time to get real. We want to see where we're really at right now with our finances. And so we're also going to do an analysis of our revenue versus our expenses, our assets versus the liabilities. And so your revenue is the money that you're taking in, and your expenses is the money that's going out each month. And it's really important to have an income expense report and to have a balance sheet and really know how much money you're taking in and how much is going out. And then you can start to budget so you can create more savings and kind of play money, liquid assets. And so we're going to figure out what those two numbers are for you right now so you can actually know what your operating capital is. And then we are going to look at your assets versus your liabilities. And so your assets is your wealth. It's how much your business is worth, and your liabilities are the debt. How much do you owe for, perhaps you already own a home or you already own a car? How much do you owe for those, or personal debts? And you're going to want to have a really solid idea of that to know what your net worth is. So your income is sales from products and services. It also includes donations, grants, government assistance, interest, dividends, passive income, anything that's coming in. And I notice a lot of times people really only think of their income as like products and sales or services, and they somehow are like, oh, and then grants and donations, like I got some of those, and there's like a little interest, or it's like, oh, they try to pass that off, but like that's really the most awesome. You know, we want to have money coming in from products and services as well, especially if it's automated, you know, and we have drop ship and we have other people doing those. But there's so much more we can be getting from grants, donations, and stocks, you know, and really investing and real estate, excuse me, playing the real estate and making money there. So then we have our expenses. And again, our expenses are basically our financial stability number, financial security number. So they're the same. Your expenses equal financial security. And so I list a couple here, and down below, we're going to list a lot more. And you're really going to want to start keeping track of all of your deductible expenses, for one. And then two, just making sure that you are really at your operating costs. I think a lot of times we have these little costs that we don't keep track of, and then they add up, and then we're like, wait, why am I in a deficit? And so we want to keep track of our expenses for both bookkeeping and for taxes. So you just want to remember that your revenue, the amount you take in minus your expenses, is your true operating income. It's like your liquid cash. That's the money you can start playing with to save, buy luxury items, start a new business. But first, we want to make sure that we have our operating costs covered. So then it's kind of basically the same balance. We want to make sure what our assets are versus our liabilities. And so we have both tangible assets that are physical cash, your checking account, your investments, things that you can quickly turn over for liquid money if you needed it. And then you also have assets that are less tangible because you need them to actually physically operate the business. Like I could, in theory, sell my computer and my lighting equipment and all of my props and costumes to start a new business, but then that would be at a detriment to the business. And so we really just want to identify money that we actually have for our assets. And then for our liabilities, it's everything that you've already taken out on loan, your mortgage, your vehicle, personal loans, credit cards, bank statements, student debt, all of this. You're going to want to make sure you have a really clear understanding. And then what we do with the liabilities is we calculate it and total it, and then we try to figure out how long it's going to take us to pay off that debt, and we can play with it. So how much time would it take me if I try to do it in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And when you play with each of those numbers, one of them will feel right and go, okay, that seems reasonable for me. And so that's what you're going to want to do with your liabilities. You're going to look at them and go, oh, okay, I have this much in liabilities, and I'm currently taking this much in my assets and my income. I can probably reasonably pay off this much a month. And we want to start chipping away at these things, especially if they're part of your living situation or can affect your credit. And so again, we're going to want to do the math. Your assets, how much you're worth, how much gross worth, I guess, minus your liabilities, that's your true net worth. And if you're really in debt, but you might look like you have a lot of money, or you might not have a lot of money, but you don't have a lot of debt. And so two different people might have the same net worth, but appear very different. And so we just want to know that it's not a bad thing to have more liability right now. If we just bought a home, we just bought a car, we just want to make sure we are playing with those numbers when we start figuring out our rates. Because oftentimes when people start talking about my rate, they're only thinking about financial stability. They're not thinking about vitality. They're not thinking about independence, freedom, having assets, their like true net worth, and like what their true value is. And so we're going to really we're going to know what we're worth, and we are going to know our net worth, and we're going to be strong in our resolve in it. Once again, my name is Kristen Railing, and this is the Performer's Guide, Pricing Yourself Like a Pro. Thank you so much for watching.